Peace, 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 family. Sister Victoria X with thehealthyhue.com out of Las Vegas, Nevada. So we are just going to simply pick up where we left off the other day. And we are going to read chapter 2 of Real Love by Dr. Ava Muhammad. We read the intro in chapter 1, so now it's time to read chapter 2. And so, chapter 2, Marriage, the real power base of the black man. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. Revelations 21:1. We all know that Allah God created himself as well as the heavens and the earth. We know what he did, but how, by what method did he do it? The key to the creative power of the black man is contained in the answer to his question. Once the creative power of the black man is restored, he will be able to love again, because love is, in fact, the universal creative force. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad set forth a profound formula. 75% of the work is with the woman. If this is true, we need to seek a clear understanding of it. First, what is the work? Second, why is so much of it with the woman? The work is the creation of a new heaven and a new earth. This planet feels solid at a weight of 6 sextillion tons, but it was not always so dense. Trillions of years ago, it was radiant substance. The earth, the Revelator saw, will be as it was in the beginning, when it was new. It will be transformed into radiant substance, but there can be no transformation of the earth until there is a transformation of the mind of man through submission of the will of Allah God. As our thoughts evolve to a new level and we project them into the environment, their impact will produce a radical change in our physical reality. 75% of the human mind is subconscious, or below the surface of awareness. It is feminine in nature. Only 25% is above the surface of the mind, or within the scope of our awareness. It is masculine in nature. The subconscious mind, female, is an invisible energy field which belongs to the physical body but vibrates faster than the physical body. It is a computer more complex than anything human beings could ever build. What is important to know about the subconscious mind in this context is that it records and holds in memory that which is given from the conscious mind. The conscious mind, male, transfers its knowledge to the subconscious mind, female. To illustrate, consider the conscious mind as the software and the subconscious as the hardware. The conscious mind, male, is the central station where everything we see, hear, touch, feel, experience is sorted out and reasoned with. All concepts and ideas are acted upon by the conscious mind, male. If not, they are stored in the subconscious mind, female. God was and is the first intelligence to know it is intelligent. He describes himself in the Holy Quran as knowing, aware. God describes himself as he because it is the knowing and aware part of the mind which is speaking and doing. When he created himself, no one else was there, and the only record of what he actually did is in the female, subconscious mind of God. All that he or the conscious mind experienced in the process of self-creation, he placed in she or subconscious mind. Everything he went through, the pain, the suffering, the joy, the pleasure, he formed attitudes, reactions, and sensations that became his emotions. He stored the final judgment of each experience in the woman. This is pleasant. This is painful. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us that the secret of God is hidden in the female. Allah God kept the secret of how he created himself in the female. In order for the original man to regain his power base, the ability to create, he will have to reconnect with his woman. He must unite with her and work in harmony with her. It is the disunity with his woman that is causing the black man to experience so many negative events in his life. He must protect and control that which embodies his power to carry out his agenda, his woman. Metaphysicists tell us it is a grave mistake to ignore the power of the subconscious mind, because not only does it carry the most weight, 75%, it does its work behind your back, beyond your range of perception. Whatever it is doing in hiding. The disunity between your conscious and subconscious mind is the reason you want to quit smoking but cannot. You want to study but you cannot. You want to be faithful but you cannot. By the way, the subconscious mind also directs your psychological processes. So it determines your state of health. I'm sorry, not psychological, physiological. So the subconscious mind also directs your physiological processes. So it determines your state of health. So the relationship between the conscious and subconscious is in many ways the relationship between man and woman. Our success and happiness depends on our ability to establish a consistent unity between us. The most important achievement in life is to experience that part of yourself which controls the 6 trillion cells that make up your body and direct the activities of your mind. That indwelling intelligence, or the essence of God within, possesses the knowledge of the workings of the universe because it is a part of his consciousness. In fact, the only purpose you have for being in the resurrection of that essence so that it will guide and direct all your life experiences. Thus, a man has an innate, divinely ordained need to get inside a woman, but because of our current state, most men act on this need physically and have no idea that it is a spiritual endeavor. This is why no matter how many women a man knows through sexual intercourse, he will remain underdeveloped and unfulfilled until he knows how to satisfy this need on a spiritual plane. The secret of creation is inside the woman, but cannot be discovered by physically entering her. The man must spiritually enter her. The substance behind a man's ability to act on his intentions is the will. Without the involvement of this essential attribute of the man, a man cannot control even a single cell. The will is God-given and cannot be destroyed, but it can be weakened to the point of complete ineffectiveness by killing our desire. Some people think desire and will are the same thing. But desire and intense yearning for something is the emotional fire that feeds and nourishes the will. If you don't want a thing, you will put no energy into getting it. The black man has been forced into a condition that is completely alien to his nature. As a result, an alarming number of black men have been robbed of the desire to marry. We can take it or let it alone, but the overwhelming number of female-headed households in our community attest to this fact. Instead of sitting around complaining about it, or worse, pretending she doesn't want or need a husband, the black woman needs to deal with the reality of this situation and open her mind to what I believe is the best and only solution. Why doesn't the black man want a wife today? Why do many of those who do want a wife want a white one? A major flaw in the thinking of the black woman is her failure to perceive the true nature of the black man. That failure causes her to make fatal mistakes in dealing with him. So she finds it difficult to get one and almost impossible to keep one. The shame and humiliation of not being able to get a man has produced a woman who disrespects and degrades the very group that would yield a suitable husband and father. The black man by nature is forceful, enterprising, courageous, and direct. He is the human embodiment of the desire for power and recognition in the eyes of others. He has a basic need for material security and pride in having worked to earn what he has. Beyond these powerful attributes, he has a dynamic spirit and requires major challenges in order to be happy. Life at the bottom of society with a reputation as a do-nothing, sex-driven, criminal clown whom everyone despises and ridicules is intolerable for such a divine being. He has to develop ways to deal with it, and many of those ways are extremely unappealing to the black woman. We need to come to terms with the fact that the foundation of the Caucasian male's worldly power and authority depends on containing the black man. This has been accomplished through the erosion of the black man's power base. We need to come to terms with the fact that the foundation of the Caucasian male's worldly power and authority depends on containing the black man. This has been accomplished through the erosion of the black man's power base, which is not found outside in politics or economics, but inside the home. The Caucasian knows the secret to wealth and influence is a stable family, the very thing young black males are being taught and trained to avoid. In truth, black males in the ghetto who form so-called gangs have better comprehension of this reality than middle and upper class black males who have been deluded into thinking they can penetrate the walls of the white corporate power structure simply by obtaining a degree and making contacts. It will never happen. The real wealth and power in this world is not wielded by governments but families, dynasties that began with an ambitious husband and a committed wife. The black man is a free spirit who has been tricked into thinking that marriage will imprison him when the opposite is true. The desire to be with another person in a committed relationship forces the development of the ability to make decisions. Marriage to the right woman will create a platform from which he can skyrocket to places he has never been. The right woman will provide the dimension of experience and energy he needs to create and build industries that will make him rich and powerful, children to carry on and expand his work. The woman is not only created by Allah God, she is created from the deepest core of the mind of Allah God. Contained in the female is the record of what he actually did to create life, along with the power to do it. She is the means through which he invokes the awesome power of reproduction. What good is your ability to do anything if you can only do it once? In addition to all these things, the right woman can provide a man with real sensual fulfillment. She can save him from a short, agonizing animal life, running the streets with shallow women who weaken his life fluid and drain him of his energy for a few seconds of pleasure. So why wouldn't a man want marriage? One of the many devastating residual effects of slavery is an impaired ability to form lasting relationships with another person. Enslavement was an experience contrary to God's will and contrary to human nature. The systematic destruction of the family unit robbed us of the real love that a man should have for a woman and a woman should have for a man. Without real love to bind a man and woman, there is no real unity between them. Even their love for their children is not real because they do not really love one another. I stated earlier that the black man was robbed of his natural desire to take care of his woman and his children. When his essential functions as provider and protector were effectively crushed, he was made to appear weak and burdensome to the black woman. Conversely, when she was forced to take over his role as protector and provider, her feminine qualities were suppressed and she was made to appear overbearing and aggressive. This made her undesirable to him, and he became undesirable to her. The truth is, in his right state of mind, a black man wants a wife and children. He wants a woman who is decent, moral, and sincerely concerned with his happiness. He wants her to satisfy his individual perception of beauty and femininity and to be his source for consolation and peace of mind. In return, he wants to be her lover, her best friend, and give her material security and protection. In fact, such a man will not even consider marriage unless and until he is financially stable. Of course, an overwhelming number of black men are not in their right state of mind. In the mutant culture that has formed our community, men are actually encouraged to seek women with a high level of income and a low self-esteem. This may work for a while, Eventually, the deep-seated spiritual and emotional wounds that make each one willing to compromise their self-respect will come to surface. Then you witness the events that feed the world view of Black life: profanity and name-calling in every conversation, fierce arguments and physical violence to settle differences. Most male children growing up in such an environment don't even consider marriage. They want the freedom to escape a relationship as soon as the attraction wears off. If they do contemplate marriage, they want it with someone completely unlike the woman in their surroundings, including their mother. This can result in marrying a woman of a different class, education level, or even another race. We know the truth that a nation could rise no higher than its woman. In order for the slave master to reach and sustain his position as the pinnacle of power, he had to use painstaking efforts to elevate his woman in the eyes of the world. Despite his own rejection of her, reflected in a slave population of every hue, he made the white woman a standard of beauty, femininity, and even morality. Since the turn of the century, the European female has become an alluring image of femininity that holds a hypnotic power over the Black man. This power is one which actually defies physical beauty. Thus, we see many of our men proudly display even extremely unattractive, unkept white women. They seem to conquer him without trying because to him, any white woman is the embodiment of all the fantasies he has held since the loss of his power. The real key to this relationship is the man's inherent need to be worshipped and adored. Take it or let it alone. If you don't look up to and sincerely admire your man, he will find someone who does. This need in Black men, most of whom are not fully aware of it themselves, is manipulated. The Black man's apparent desire for white women perpetuates the myth of Black inferiority and prevents him from achieving real power. Black entertainers, athletes, and successful businessmen are encouraged and enticed into such relationships so that their high income is not invested in any real exchange in our community. The only means for the Black man to overcome the obstacles that keep him off his power base, marriage, is through knowledge of self. He must learn to accept your own and be yourself. Loving himself is the Black man's prerequisite to loving the Black woman, because she is, in fact, a reflection of himself. Accepting oneself leads to being loyal and true to self, which is the beginning of love. If you lie to yourself, if you do not keep your word for the sake of your own dignity and reputation, then you do not love yourself. You do not want to reproduce yourself and your children. Black women do not wish to acknowledge our despicable, yet understandable, habit of communicating insulting and ego-damaging remarks to and about our men. We undervalue our power in the mental world, so we carelessly poison our men's minds with seeds of negativity. We have over a period of time reduced them to failures we accuse them of being. We reap what we sow. Our mouths have made success impossible for our men and murdered our chance for happiness. It is critical that we overcome all obstacles to marriage. Otherwise, we will never experience change in the Black community. Our upliftment must come from within. The breakup of the family was the downfall of our kingdom, and it must be restored before we can even think of returning to greatness. If we are going to find happiness in this life, we need to accept and appreciate divine law. There are inherent differences between the male and female, and our failure to appreciate these differences is causing us a lot of pain. Unfortunately, one of the insidious effects of sexism has been a rejection of the idea that there is any difference at all between a man and a woman. The lack of respect between the Black man and woman, the lack of appreciation for the beauty and uniqueness of one another as male and female has all but destroyed our community. Due to our lack of knowledge as to how to find fulfillment in each other, we are now limited to the most primitive encounters where we only relate through body contact for a brief mating experience. In the animal kingdom, the male has no concern for or participation in the birth and raising of his offspring. The female, even though she carries the offspring to birth, also has a very limited role in their upbringing. Once they are weaned and know how to protect themselves and find food, they are on their own. The overwhelming number of single female-headed households is clear proof that our men are not fathers. The condition of our children is clear proof that our women are not mothers. A baby lion at least gets the benefit of nursing from its mother. Our children get synthetic liquid heated up in a microwave oven. Like the animals in the wild, our children are left on their own at a very early age. They have little or no experience with home-cooked meals and hugs, no one to read to them at night, no one to protect them from the predators in the concrete jungles of America. Even among the educated, financially stable class, there is an unhealthy energy permeating many relationships. There may be a higher number of marriages, but they often lack warmth and trust and unnatural competitiveness, an aura of superficiality stemming from a greater concern for how things look than for how things really are. All of this is due to a lack of love between the male and the female. Marriage places the black man on the path to solving life's greatest mystery, the creation of life itself. Once he can master this knowledge, then wealth, influence, control will all come to him automatically. Marriage to black woman is the way to power that is not relative, but power that is absolute. This society has taught us to believe marriage is something to be burdened with. We have to be miserable in the effort to find a way to make it work. Nothing could be further from the truth. Whether you are male or female, when you marry, you are linking your life to another person. Deeper than that, you are being given the opportunity of a lifetime to enter, explore, and fulfill the need to know who you are and who God is. And so that is the end of chapter 2. Thank you all for tuning in. If you've made it this far, I want you to drop finish, #finish at the bottom. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and hit #replay in the comments. And share this out. If you heard anything that you like, or anything that you can resonate with, or anything that you just like to start a deeper conversation about, go ahead and hit share. And leave your comments there. And maybe tomorrow the next chapter is what it means to be a helpmeet. So I hope you all tune in for that. Please subscribe, follow, share, and turn on your notifications no matter what platform we're on. And I will talk to you all later. Peace.